Welcome to UNP Learning Platform. In this session of Microsoft Excel, we are going to understand how to show values as options in pivot table in Microsoft Excel. In the previous class, we have seen how to create a pivot table by including components such as rows, columns, filters, and values. In today's session, we will see how we can show values differently using various options. In order to do this, first we need to create a pivot table. We will do it. We will use Superstore data, create a pivot table. First, we need to click on a cell, go to Insert, Pivot Table, from Table or Range because we have the table ready. I want the pivot table to be placed in New Worksheet. So I'll choose this option. Okay. So a pivot table which is blank is ready. Now we will take segment in rows, category columns, and profit in values. A pivot table with rows, columns, and values is ready. Now let's say we want profit to be displayed as percentage. In order to do this, first right click on some particular value and we get a drop down of different options. In here, we have an option called show value as. If we click on show value as, we get different options by which we can show the value. So let's say we will take percent of grand total. The values are changed percent of grand total. Let's see how percent of grand total works. So basically, percent of grand total displays a value as a percentage of the grand total of all the values or data points in the table. In order to understand it clearly, we'll create this pivot table again so that we can check the values that are changed from the original values. Let's go to Superstore dataset, click on any cell, go to Insert, Pivot Table, Range, New Worksheet. Okay. So a pivot table is created. Now we have taken segment in rows, category in columns, and profit in values. So this is the original pivot table. And when we clicked the value as percent of grand total, it is changed as this. So let's see how it changed. So these are the initial values. Percent of grand total takes the percent of all the values in the table or the report. So basically it takes this value as a percentage, this value as a percentage, this value as a percentage, and these values as a percentage are shown here: 24.72, 19.67, 2.44. Now the grand total is calculated by adding these three values. This is for each row. In the same way, it is calculated for each column. You can see here, this is taken as a percentage, this is taken as percentage, this is taken as percentage. 0.44, 2.65, 1.35. If we add these three values, we get 6.44. And if we add these three grand totals and these three grand totals, the overall grand total of columns and rows is 100.00 percentage. In this way, percent of grand total works. Now, let's see how percent of column total works. Right click on any cell, go to show value as, click on percent of column total. So basically, percent of column total displays all the values in each column as percentage of total for that particular column. Now let's understand how it worked. So it will consider the column totals as 100% as the total of all the values. Now we have 699.991.0786. Out of 100%, it will change this 699.1.07 into the percent of 100. So 6991.07 is 37.89% out of 100. The same way, the next value is also converted into percentage. The third value is also converted into percentage. If we add these three values, we will get 100.00 percentage. In this way, it is calculated for all the columns in the given table. Now, let's see how percent of row total works. Click on any cell, right click, show value as percent of row total. So basically, percent of row total displays the value in each row as a percentage of all the total for the row or the category. Here, in this, how it worked for column total, percent of column total, it works the same for percent of row total. It converts each value into percentage for 100. So basically, it will consider everything as a sum of 100%. Now, let's see the original value. 6991.07 is converted into percentage as 5.21. 56330.321 is converted into percentage as 42. In the same way, this is also converted. If we add these three values, the answer is 100.00%. In this way, we can show values as different options. Percent of grand total, percent of column total, percent of row total. We also have other options which are there, like percent of parent row total, percent of parent column total, and etc. I hope it is clear. This is all about today's lecture. See you in the next lecture. Thank you.